Well, I now have my riverbed routed out here in my area here for the two culverts. And a bonus from routering this that I think is going to work out really well is I ended up with a really rough texture along the edge of the cut here. And that might work out really well once I get her painted up to simulate rough rock. And here I use some of that 15-minute speedy dry to cover up this little crack here. So before I put the culverts in, I'm going to have to paint the base of this river because of the fact I'm going to be able to see through the culverts and I don't want blue showing up later. Okay, to paint this riverbed with, I just took a little dab of black acrylic paint here. And I'm going to paint this. Okay, now it's time to get the second coat of blue on, and we'll get some cloud cover on. So let's go ahead and get a nice coat of blue on here. I use this particular shade of blue, but there's no hard and fast rule about what color you want to put on. That is definitely a matter of preference. And whatever your eye sees, that's what it comes down to. So just about got the second coat on here. Smooth her all out nice and smooth. Okay, now it's time for some clouds. We know that I'm going to have 3.5 inches up. I'm going to have my cliffs here. And then above that I'm going to have some trees and everything. So we're not going to need a whole lot of clouds. But what I do is I just take white primer, just put it on the end of the roller like so, and then I spread a little out. Go ahead and get a little more here. I want to make a little bit of cloud cover. Okay, now let's roll this out just really lightly. Just roll it out. Let the fluffies in the brush take care of it. I think I'll make the cloud cover a little heavier right here. Alright. Just a nice, there we go. Just really light. You kind of just let it blend in. Let's give her a little more right here. Really light. There we go. There. Get a little more on this far side. I think that's pretty good. There we are. There's some pretty decent cloud cover on there. So now we'll let that all dry, and I think our next step will be to put down the roadbed and lay some track. Alright, our paint here looks like it's pretty much dry. So I'm going to use some of this stuff. I love this stuff. I'll talk about it all the time. It's Elaine's Fast Grab Tacky Glue. It really works good for this kind of stuff. It dries clear. It grabs really good, dries dries not hard, but kind of a rubbery hard. But once it's in there, it is in there. So anyways, we take this one. And what I'm doing is I've got my pencil lines for my track road bed here. I want to make sure I get it about halfway on each side. Alright, there's one in. Now I'm going to use up some of this, seeing as how that's filled a little bit right there. And you can see here, if I get a little on the inside, it really won't matter because you won't be able to see it because this stuff dries matte clear. There we go. Good. There. I think that will do it. Okay. So right here I have them in position, and I tried to line them up. I made these 8 inches, so I tried to line them up 1/2 inch on each side of where the road bed is going to be. And you can see where the black is here. Now you can see where you can see through the culvert, and I have enough clearance on top for the road. So that'll be the next step, put on the road bed. Let's get this road bed glued down. On the weight right there. Lined up nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I have some little nails here that are about the same size as Atlas track nails. I'm going to take one, nail him down right here. Oops. Well, there's a living, I should be able to nail nails better than that. Right now I'm just taking them down just flush. I'm not taking any big wax on them or anything like that. Just barely get them flush. I can actually use these nails to help adjust my track level if I need to. Nails in there flush, and I'm going to double check my track. Okay, right there, I'm right bang on, good deal. Right bang on there too. Not diggity dog. How to manage that? Alrighty. Actually smidgen low. That one is right on. high, so the high one's really easy to take care of. Just grab that nail set, take that down just a hair more. That's looking pretty good. Might be just a smidgen high yet. So let's go ahead and just get that nail set in a little more wax. There we go. Okay, that's pretty doggone good. Okay, the one that's a little low, how bad is it? Not horrible by any means. But let me go grab a screwdriver. I'll see if I can pry it up a hair. What I did was I grabbed this little putty knife and I slid it right underneath, and that brought it up just that slight difference that I had to bring it up to get her to work right. Let's see if I can show you here what we need for. We want, let me get that lined up. We want the tops of those tracks lined right up so that when engines and stuff go over, cars go over, they won't be bumping up and down. And we will make sure, of course, it's lined up this way. But this here, right now, at this stage, this is the critical part. The one thing I've found over the years is good track work can make a railroad, and bad track work can break a railroad. So right there. So, and I'm doing something different here. I'm not using my jigs right here because I've got 3 tracks. This is the DC track. This is the DCC track, and on DCC you always have more than one train running. So I put in a passing siding, and on my jigs I don't have the passing siding. So anyhow, that's not my normal mode of operation, but that's what I'm doing this time. I'm going to line up, because this particular module will always be between these 2 modules. So it really doesn't matter if I go off the jigs or not, although as a habit I like to. So anyways, while that's setting up, I'm going to put a couple of cans of paint on there and let that glue set up, and then we'll be ready for laying some track. The next step in this process is getting the ends ready to lay the track on. And these little pieces right here are made by a member of our Model Railroad Club. They have a PVC backing on them, and then they're copper on top, so it makes it really good to solder the ends of the rail to so they don't move. But I did come across a situation. It's funny, it doesn't matter how long you're doing something, like even myself in business for myself, you always learn something every day. Well, it just so happens I use almost exclusively Pico track, and the ties on Pico track are 70 thousandths of an inch. These things are 62 thousandths of an inch. So what you've got is you've got a slight difference in between the PC ties right here, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's right there. You can just barely feel it. And what it was doing was right at the ends of the track, it was causing a little bit of a dip where the 2 modules were coming together. So I think I've come across a way to fix that. What I did was, I haven't been able to find 8 thousandths styrene, but I did find 10 thousandths styrene. And what I did was I glued that to the bottom of the PC ties, and then I just sanded them down a little bit until I got them down to the 70 thousandths that the Pico ties are. So after doing that, then I take a little bit of my trusty Aleene's tacky glue again. Just put just a real thin smear on, and I line up my PC tie like so. And then I take these little, again these little, just like the little Atlas track nails, and I nail them in. but I do it very gently. As soon as this thing hits, that's it. You don't go any farther. If you do, then you're going to bend it. We'll start that one here. Okay, that's hit the end. So let's check this out and see if we got the right height. And we're right on the right height, so we're good to go. Now everything should sit down flat, and I shouldn't have that little humpy bumpy that I used to have. So our next step is to solder on some track. Well, now it is time to lay some track. So again, I'm going to use, first off, I guess I should say I very carefully measure my track, and I put it in here, and I make sure there's just a smidgen bit of play back and forth. Just enough to leave a little wee bit of a gap at each end. Then I go ahead and I glue down the center of the track. Use the knife and I spread it out. I just want a really nice, real thin layer right here. Just enough to grab it. There we go. Now let's put her in place. And I've already drawn my line on here that I get it nice and straight. There we are. That looks pretty good both ends. Okay. That looks pretty good there. That looks pretty good there. Now we just check it for height, make sure we're all good again. Alright. Looks like we're pretty good right here. So, now, I'm going to flux this thing on the outside. That one, and we'll get a little dab of solder on there. There we are. Now, make sure we're still good. No, it looks like I moved up a hair. So, got to take this thing. Downward pressure on her. Oops. We moved out somewhat. There we go. Line you up. There we are. That should be it. Okay. Almost a hair too low. Now I just let it come up just a smidgen.